Not only do we not recognize him, 50-something countries around the world do not recognize Nicolas Maduro as the rightful president. He's not the president of Venezuela. That's a title he's given himself. And that's not just us saying it. That was, by the way, that was the policy of the Biden administration. And that was the policy of the first Trump administration. And that's the policy of 50-something countries, including multiple countries in the region, do not recognize him as the president of that country. What he is someone who's empowered himself of some of the instruments of government and are using that to operate a drug cartel from Venezuelan territory. Much of that drugs aimed at reaching the United States. So we're not going to have a cartel operating or masquerading as a government operating in our own hemisphere. He's indicted. He's a fugitive of American justice. There's a reward out for his capture. And by the way, related to that, the President of the United States made clear that he's not going to allow cartels, that cartel or any other cartel, to operate with impunity in our hemisphere and send drugs towards the United States. And he's going to use the U.S. military and all the elements of American power to target cartels who are targeting America.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, September the 16th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. So it looks like the European Union is stuck at sanctions package number 18, because today we got the announcement that the 19th sanctions package, which was scheduled to be announced on the 17th, tomorrow, has now been postponed indefinitely. Stuck at sanctions package number 18, the European Union. It looks like they finally got the message from Trump that he does not want to place sanctions on Russia. He doesn't want to place secondary sanctions on India and on China. His ultimatum from a couple of days ago to the NATO member states, but he was speaking to the Europeans, was that he would place major sanctions on Russia, but only after the European Union stopped buying Russian oil and placed 50 to 100% tariffs on China. And this was an impossible ask, even for the nutty Europeans. They cannot do what Trump was telling them to do. A gamble from Trump, and it looks like it paid off. The European leadership, they are now openly stating, according to Politico, that it would be impossible for them to simply cut off Russian oil and to place tariffs on China. And so now they have taken the decision that the 19th sanctions package is delayed indefinitely. So Trump gambled. He came out with that Truth Social post. He put out his ultimatum to NATO member states and to the European Union, and it looks like his gamble worked. So he is off the hook, the Trump administration. The whole sanctions thing on Russia and the whole bone-crushing sanctions thing on China and India, it looks like that is winding down. Lindsey Graham is trying to push the secondary sanctions initiative on his side of things, but Mike Johnson, he completely shut Lindsey Graham down yesterday. So look, we had the ceasefire talk that ended in Alaska. We have security guarantees that has also pretty much ended as well. The whole talk about security guarantees to Project Ukraine. Even Sikorsky, thank you USA, Foreign Minister of Poland Sikorsky, he said yesterday, forget about security guarantees. There's no country in the collective West that wants to take on Russia. Even if we did sign security guarantees, you're not going to find one country in the collective West that is ready to take on Russia. So security guarantees, that whole thing has ended. And the coalition of the willing, it stops, it starts, it stops, it starts. Okay. We still have the coalition of the willing thing lingering around. But it does look like the whole sanctions talk and secondary sanctions on China and India, it looks like that is now over. So what is Kaya Kallas going to do? How is Kaya Kallas going to fill her days if she doesn't have to prepare sanctions? What's she gonna do all day, man? No one is thinking about stunning and brave Kaya Kallas in all of this. Trump, did you ever consider Kaya Kallas's feelings? What is she going to do? Oh my God. Poor Kaya Kallas, stunning and brave. So you know who still hasn't gotten the memo, who still hasn't understood that Trump doesn't want to go the route of sanctions? Zelensky. Yeah, Zelensky. He is still pushing for sanctions, for the Trump administration to sanction Putin. He is still pushing for security guarantees. He gave an interview to UK media Sky News, and Zelensky demands, according to Sky News, a clear position from Trump on ending the war. In a one-on-one interview in the presidential palace in Kiev, the Ukrainian leader tells Sky News' lead world news presenter Yalda Hakim that Donald Trump needs to take strong personal steps and make Putin afraid of him. Miss Journalist Lady Hakim, Trump needs to make the Putin afraid of him. He needs to place sanctions on Russia, and we need security guarantees. And I need some weapons and some money. Miss Journalist Hakim, maybe you have some money to give me? What do you think, Podolyak? So yeah, he said the same thing that he's been saying now for the past 6 months, right? Security guarantees. He wants those security guarantees, by the way, at the end of the year. He wants the whole security guarantee thing wrapped up by the year's end. He wants Trump to place sanctions on Putin because Putin is afraid of Trump. He also is complaining about how Trump brought Putin out of isolation by meeting with him in Alaska. Zelensky, man. He really is an actor-comedian, isn't he? He really is an actor-comedian. He's saying that it was Trump that brought Putin out of isolation. Makes it seem as if Putin was living somewhere in in a remote area in Siberia or something, in a cave, or in a little wooden tiny house in Siberia, isolated and alone. And then Trump brought him out of isolation by bringing him to Alaska. It's ridiculous stuff, man. Ridiculous stuff. But the point of this entire interview, there was a reason for Sky News to do this interview at the time that it did the interview, and that is because they want to send a message to Keir Starmer, because Trump is in the UK today. He is on an official 2-day state visit to the UK to meet with 008, the most unpopular man in the world. And Sky News, they wanted to interview Zelensky because Zelensky had a message for Keir Starmer. And that message to Keir Starmer was that he needs to convince Trump to place sanctions on Russia, and to do it now. That was the message that Zelensky is giving to Keir Starmer via Sky News. So that was the real purpose of this interview. To send a message to 008. You need to convince Trump to place sanctions on Russia, because according to Zelensky, Trump is the only man that Putin is afraid of. Putin only fears U.S. President Trump. So the UK is also sending warplanes to Poland They are going to send typhoons to help Warsaw counter aerial threats. Okay. Those typhoons are going to take on the foam decoy drones. Better send those typhoons to take on those decoy drones made of foam and put together with duct tape. There are French fighter jets in Poland as well, patrolling the skies. German fighter jets, and now the UK is going to be joining them to make sure that the decoy drones don't cause any more trouble for Poland. Romania, they were being asked to create a no-fly zone in Romania's airspace to deal with the Russian foam decoy drones, and Romania said no. Lieutenant Dan, the leader of Romania, he said that after consulting with his military and his team of advisors, he didn't think it was necessary for Romania to create a no-fly zone and close off its airspace or monitor its airspace for the foam Russian decoy drones. Smart move from Lieutenant Dan. Oh boy. So yeah, that's the news out of Romania. Since we're talking about drones, let me read you a title from the paper of record, the New York Times, which Trump is suing for defamation for $15 billion. He is taking the New York Times to court in Florida for $15 billion freaking dollars, and he just might win. But anyway, that's a different story. The New York Times had a report on Russian drones with the title, "Russia Made Drone Production a Supreme Priority. Now it swarms the skies. Ukraine is struggling to defend itself against the growing number of attack drones that Moscow has started using in its onslaughts." The New York Times actually is reporting that Russia now produces 30,000 attack drones, not total drones, just attack drones, 30,000 every year. Roughly 2.5 to 3,000 a month is what the New York Times is reporting. And then you have all of the other drones, all the other drones and the decoy drones. And the New York Times described Russia as a drone empire. A drone empire. Well, a gas station masquerading as a country no more. Russia is now a drone freaking empire, and Ukraine can't deal with it. They can't handle the massive production of drones that is coming out of Russia. Yeah, so in 3-4 years, Russia went from washing machine chips to shovels to becoming a drone empire. And during those 3-4 years, every couple of weeks, Russia was running out of weapons and missiles. Now it's a drone empire, everybody, according to the New York Times. So remember during a live stream on the Duran, do you guys remember we had Jeffrey Sachs on for the first time? We had him on for the first time on the Duran. That was maybe 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. And Professor Sachs, he was talking about how he was at an event in Europe, some sort of Europe event that was going on. He was invited to this event. And he said that one of the leaders in Europe told him privately that NATO had provoked the war, even though publicly they were saying Russia started this war and it was full scale, unprovoked, and all of that BS. Privately, this leader told Jeffrey Sachs, we provoked this war, we started this thing. But he would not give the name of this leader. It looks like we now have the name of this leader. Almost 2 years later, it seems as if Professor Sachs has finally admitted who this leader was. And everyone was guessing. Everyone was trying to guess, who is it? Who is it? And some people guessed correctly. I think either Alexander or myself guessed correctly. One of us said Pavel from Czechia, from the Czech Republic. And then we also said maybe Macron. Maybe Macron's the guy that told Professor Sachs privately that NATO was behind the Ukraine conflict. Well, Professor Sachs was at an event, at a conference, and he said that during an awards ceremony, an awards event, Emmanuel Macron told him that NATO was behind everything going on in Ukraine. Hey, my friend, where are you going? That cat just came out of the rocks. Where were you hiding, man? Amazing. Anyway, Macron admitted NATO behind Ukraine conflict. Sachs, the French president, privately said the US-led military bloc instigated the crisis, according to The Economist. So there you have it. The name has been revealed. Flip-flopper Macron. So President Trump, moving on, he destroyed another boat. The second boat that has been destroyed in the Caribbean, international waters, and Trump claims this was a narco-terrorist boat. 3 people died. He posted on Truth Social. Should I read you what he posted on Truth Social? It's not too long. Let me read it to you. This morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a second kinetic strike against positively identified, extraordinarily violent drug trafficking cartels and narco terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. The strike occurred while those confirmed narco-terrorists from Venezuela were in international waters transporting illegal narcotics, a deadly weapon poisoning Americans, headed to the U.S. These extremely violent drug trafficking cartels pose a threat to U.S. national security, foreign policy, and vital U.S. interests. The strike resulted in 3 male terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Be warned, if you are transporting drugs that can kill Americans, we are hunting you. The illicit activities by these cartels have wrought devastating consequences on American communities for decades, killing millions of American citizens. No longer. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay. So a second boat, a kinetic strike, according to Trump, 100% confirmed that these were narco-terrorists. How do they know this? I have no freaking clue. No idea. I have no idea how they confirmed this. 3 males died. According to Trump, these are drug traffickers, terrorists, and of course, it is all coming from Venezuela. They are laying down the foundation, right, brick by brick, for some sort of an operation against Venezuela to remove Maduro, some sort of a decapitation strike. They are laying down all the foundation. They're also moving into place all of the military assets that they will need for some sort of operation against Venezuela. They've got the reason because of narcotics, and Venezuela is behind all of these narcotics. So they've got the narrative nailed down. They're now destroying any boats in international water. Maybe it was a drug trafficking boat. Maybe it was not. I don't understand why why they can't seize the boat. I mean, they see it, they know where it is. Why can't they just seize the boat, board it, and find the drugs, and then show everybody the drugs? Here you go. These are the drugs that we found on this boat. And where are you guys from? We're from Venezuela. Okay, well, there you guys have it. You see, I don't understand why they can't do that. Why they have to blow the boat apart in international waters. Anyway, I think we know what's going on and the reason for all of this. Marco Rubio gave an interview, and he said that Maduro is not the president of Venezuela. He said that only 50, what did he say? No, he said 50 countries, not only 50, he said 50 countries do not recognize Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela. Basically, when he says about 50 countries do not recognize Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela, what Rubio is saying is that the United States, along with the European Union and the Five Eyes, do not view Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's what he means when he says about 50 countries don't recognize him as the legitimate president. It's Juan Guaidó. Juan Guaidó is who they see as the legit president of Venezuela. Anyway, so look, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. The narrative is being built. The only question is when. When is this operation going to happen? When is all of this going to go down? That's the question. So let's talk about the big news for today, which came in this morning, at least into my X feed, which is that a UN commission says that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. And this is coming on the same day that Israel has officially launched its offensive to occupy Gaza City. So that offensive has officially started. And this independent, let me pull up the story. This is coming from CNN. This independent commission has concluded that what is happening in Gaza is indeed a genocide. In a 72-page report released on Tuesday, the commission, which was set up by the UN Human Rights Council, the HRC, found that Israel has committed 4 genocidal acts in the enclave since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas carried out deadly attacks on Israel and Israel launched its military campaign. These acts include the killing of Palestinians in Gaza, causing Palestinians seriously bodily and mentally harm, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, according to the report. Israel, they have rejected this UN commission report. Israel categorically rejects a distorted and false report and calls for the immediate abolition of the commission of inquiry. The country's foreign ministry said in a statement Tuesday it described the inquiry as a report that relies entirely on Hamas falsehoods and accused the authors of being proxies for the militant group whose horrific statements about Jews have been condemned worldwide. So that's big news that you have this UN commission officially reporting that according to their investigation, according to their report, what you have in Gaza is a genocide, or at least four cases of genocide have occurred, according to this UN commission. So Rubio, according to Axios, the operation in Gaza City has started, and according to Axios, Rubio, who was, I think he still may be in Israel. I think he's still there, but Axios' sources, they claim that Rubio was in Israel to tell Netanyahu that from the Trump administration, they're not going to to push back or prevent or stop the operation in Gaza City. The United States is not going to do anything there. So basically, the Trump administration is giving Netanyahu the green light, or they gave Netanyahu the green light to go ahead with the Gaza City operation. And the only ask from Rubio, according to Axios, from the Trump administration, was that the operation is concluded quickly. That is what Axios was reporting, according to their sources. Let me see here. 2 Israeli officials said Rubio told Netanyahu that the Trump administration supports the ground operation, but wants to see it implemented quickly, ending as soon as possible. Rubio didn't pull the brakes on the ground operation, a senior Israeli official said. A U.S. official said the Trump administration is not going to stop Israel and allows it to make its own decisions regarding the war in Gaza. It's not Trump's war, it's Bibi's war, and he will own whatever happens next, the U.S. official said. So that is how Axios is reporting this. So let's go back to the U.S., to the United States, and do a quick update on the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the investigation of Tyler Robinson. And Kash Patel, he is letting us know that the Discord group where allegedly the assassination was discussed had 20 members in this chat group. So when you listen to Kash Patel and what he was saying, you're getting the indication that the FBI is going to say that this was not a one-man job. There was not one man who organized and pulled this off. That's basically what Kash Patel is hinting at. He claims 20 people in the chat room. And Discord, they claim that the assassination was not discussed in their message group. And the FBI is saying, well, that's not what we're seeing. So someone's lying. Is it Discord? Is it the FBI? If it's Discord, then Discord's going to be in big trouble. You already have Pam Bondi talking about going after speech on social networks, which is the exact opposite of what Charlie Kirk talked about and what he advocated for. He was very much someone who supported free speech. Obviously, Charlie Kirk was free speech, but Pam Bondi, she is now using this crisis to say that the Trump administration has to go after social networks to clamp down on free speech. Free speech and hate speech. There's that word, hate speech, hate crimes and stuff like that. Pam Bondi, man, she's awful. Peter Navarro, he replied to a post from Elon Musk on X. Musk said, "We must fight back or be murdered." And Peter Navarro, he said, "My friend Elon Musk, how about you start fighting back by cleaning up the cesspool otherwise known as X? No more anonymous posts, no more foreigners swarming your platform and polluting our political discourse. X has become a breeding ground and grooming academy for the very dark forces. You want to fight back? Physician, heal itself. Elon, heal X." You can see where they're going with all of this. You can see where Bondi and Navarro and all these guys are going with all of this, which is once again the exact opposite of what Charlie Kirk talked about, what he debated, what he lived his life for. The exact opposite. But never let a crisis go to waste, right? Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. At the end of the day, both parties, the Uniparty wants the same thing, which is complete control of media, of social media, of speech. Yeah. So So that's Navarro. And I think I've covered everything. Maybe we can move on to Clown World, to the Clown World segment. Since we're talking about social media, there are reports which say that tomorrow President Trump is going to speak with Xi Jinping, and according to Besant, who was in Madrid negotiating with China, that they've agreed on some sort of a framework to settle the whole TikTok thing, and all that's needed is for Trump to speak with Xi, and TikTok will be saved. Will continue to operate in the United States. It's supposed to actually go offline tomorrow on the 17th. You know, Trump keeps extending it. But the 17th is the new deadline where TikTok is supposed to go offline. But Besant said that they've agreed on a framework. Chinese officials have said that they've agreed as well and that they're happy with the arrangement. We don't know the details. No one's giving us any of the details. But the Chinese officials said that they have not walked back from their position. So that's what they're saying. And Besant is saying that Trump just has to call Xi and just finalize what's been agreed on in Madrid. So there's that update. And now we can do some Clown Worlds. And we go back to the drones in Poland story because we are getting videos on social media of Polish citizens, of citizens in Sweden and other countries as well, who are mocking the whole drone story. They're launching little styrofoam airplanes, styrofoam drones, and they're pretending to shoot them down, and they're writing CCCP on the drones and placing Russian passports next to the drones, and they're taking photographs and videos, and they're mocking the whole drone false flag, which is what many people believe this was. I believe it was some sort of a false flag. They're trying to desperately get a no-fly zone put in place and get to the United States to back a no-fly zone. That's what the whole Poland drone thing was about, in my opinion. Polish citizens, they're having fun with it, and they're mocking the entire decoy drone threat to our airspace narrative, NATO threat to our airspace narrative. Article 4, Article 5, and other countries are getting in on the action as well. I've seen videos from other NATO member states pretending to fire at decoy drones and making fun of the whole story. So anyway, that's Clown World number one. Well done, people of Poland, and very, very creative way to mock your leadership, your ruling class. And the second Clown World is that people have gone through Zelensky's X feed, and they've been looking at the likes on the posts that he makes, and they're noticing that the engagement that he's getting on his posts, for some very weird, strange reason, is heavily skewed towards people in Thailand and Vietnam. In other words, the names that are appearing to like his posts and to comment on his posts, they're names that are Vietnamese and Thai names. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if these are bots. Maybe they're bots. Maybe they're bots. But who knows? Maybe Zelensky's got a big fan base in Thailand or in Vietnam. That's possible. Doubted, but possible. Anyway, that's pretty funny. Zelensky's got a big fan club in Vietnam. Hey, Podolyak. People in Vietnam, they like me. They like me a lot. Who doesn't like you, Mr. President? Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. go to the Durant shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. There is a link in the description box down below. Take care.